Hey, good morning, Patriots. It's good to see you all this morning. Welcome to another great edition of Wake Up Patriots. You're Patriots, and we're waking up, so it all works out pretty darn well. It's another great day here in the USA. And speaking of the USA, I think there's a guy that is an American citizen by birth and by right. Chris Cordani. Chris, are you there?
I am here, and
There he
I, I
is.
I think you can call me the anger baby.
The anger baby.
That's
Well,
right.
I'm pretty angry about some of the stuff. By the way, did you know that we have a sixth sense on this show? Did you know that?
I know I know I get Sixth Sense when I do the show sometimes, but no, I didn't know that.
Well, we did because man, did we call it or what with Governor Hochul
Governor
with
Hochul.
Vampira and all of her being back in the news yesterday, right? I mean, man, oh man, we didn't know that she had a Chinese spy working for her, but
Oh
man,
yeah,
oh man.
yep. I mean, think about it though. They somehow love to infiltrate our our most let's say the more gullible of the
Weakest,
political types. Yeah,
squishy,
weakest. Yeah,
squishy politicians.
yeah, most gullible, if you will. These are people that if you tell them gullible is not in the dictionary, they'll look it up. There we go. But, this is what happens.
All right.
This woman had a $4 million mansion, salted ducks. I do you like duck?
Salted ducks.
Yeah. I mean, that's luxury there. I mean, it's amazing. But she
Salted? No, 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 no. Let's stick with salted ducks for a second. What
okay.
the hell is a salted? Do you like go out and like as soon as you catch it, you put salt on it and it goes flying around? And by the way, not that I want to get on Kamala's case. Kamala, did you know that one of the language experts says that she has a resting duck face? Did you know that? I didn't know that. I want to give credit where credit's due. It's body language ghost on, and it's not me, it's her. Really, it's the body language ghost. But maybe is that how you get it? Is that you get a resting duck face by having salted duck? Is there a
I
connection there or something? I don't know.
I don't know. We should ask Fang Fang for that.
Well, I think Fang Fang had a lot of other things on her face besides salted duck, but I let's not go there for this
I don't know. I
particular.
mean, Swalwell again, the weakest among us. Again, she might have just served as a cover up for him anyway for some
He
reason, some
he made
inadequacies, if you will.
he makes kittens look strong. Swalwell.
I
I mean, he's like, wow. I mean,
I have
I
actually
don't get it.
this is no joke. I have actually been among Democrats. I used to work for a good friend of mine. I have to leave her nameless because she is steeped
I
ways
know we
with
have to be
Democrats
careful.
now in New
Yeah.
York, right?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
But she used to be a fiscally conservative blue dog type Democrat. She obviously has swallowed the Kool-Aid at this point. However, we had to go to these meetings with other New York Democrats because she had to go meet with them. They had to help campaign, which by the way, they offered some of the very prominent ones offered very little help. That
I'm
includes
sure
a
that's
former
true.
governor. Anyway, what we're saying here is I'm meeting these people who are running a certain congressman at the time. Well, I could say Congressman Hinchy, can I? Anyway, these people that work
I would.
this one guy I met who was I guess it was the face of his insiders. I don't know. He was really weak, wimpy, and he could barely stand. I'm not saying he was handicapped. No, he could barely stand because he was so milk toasty. And this was common among the men. The women tend to be more aggressive, at least amongst the New York Republicans at the time, or New York Democrats at the time. But the men are just, I don't know. You ever hear of beta males? Well,
Oh yeah, of
um,
course.
these are like omega males, if you will. Noting that it's the last.
Theta.
Yeah.
Theta is
Nope.
the term.
Nope. Omega, the last letter in the alphabet.
Omega.
Yeah.
Oh.
Way down from beta. Beta is too alpha for them.
Well, so are you saying that they actually wore pantyhose to work? Is that what you're saying, Chris?
I
Because
don't
you can be
think
clear about that.
I don't think they were strong enough to roll them up. They had to use the fake ones that people use sometimes just to get it goes up to their knees. Okay.
Well, so let's go. Well, speaking of weak knees, let's go back to Catherine Hochul or
Right.
Vampira. So, by the way, do you have that? Yeah, there they are. So basically, this Chinese spy had salted duck sent to her hotel or something. I'm not even sure of all the details, but what's notable is that most of this happened actually during Andrew Cuomo's watch as governor, which is very interesting. So, did you notice that, Chris?
Yes, in fact, Andrew Cuomo is going to be answering for COVID, let's say misrepresented COVID numbers, I should say allegedly by the attorney general. But that I think is another story. Yeah, she did a lot of
It
this
is.
during Andrew Cuomo's reign. I guess when COVID was unleashed, things kind of slowed down when it came to her. But she did continue this under Vampira's
Oh, I
watch
don't know if
too.
it slowed down because she that one of the disclosures is that she actually allowed the Chi-Coms, the Chinese communists, to get on inside Zoom calls regarding the state of New York's COVID condition during COVID.
Oh, that
Now,
I was just thinking they were too afraid to come down here. So
oh no,
just,
no, no, no,
that's
no,
all.
no, no, no.
I was only trying to make a joke there.
This, well, no, this is a real no
Right.
nonsense thing.
Right.
So I think one of the things that I think we should talk about briefly, and we're
Yes.
going to be joined by both Angie and Dr. Corsi, right today.
Yeah, Dr. Corsi has an update on those algorithms, by the way. It's going to be
Oh, good.
interesting.
Well, I got to talk. I got his new book too. We'll talk about that.
Yes,
But
definitely.
anyway, so we'll bring him in and talk about this. But I want to lay the groundwork here. One of the things that's notable is that this went on for years. This person was a member of the Democrat Party for over 10 years, going back to your point about kind of the fabric of people. So if I'm going to ask you this, Chris, because you open that door. If you're dealing with people who are weak, either emotionally or they're not very masculine. If you're a guy and you're really more of a girl, which I've seen a
Yeah.
lot of lately, uh, how difficult is it for someone to come in and manipulate you? Because if you're like a Swalwell and you got a hot chick, well, I guess she's hot. I've seen pictures, but
Fang
I've
Fang
never
was a
met her.
babe. She was a babe.
Fang Fang, well, and if you're a dweeb, I guess she is a babe. So,
That's
but my
true.
point being, these people all seem to be very vulnerable to approaches. If you know what I mean?
Nope. And they this is not an impromptu thing. These people are cased and
No,
studied as to how
exactly,
vulnerable they are. Uh,
exactly.
right. And it's very simple to infiltrate, let's just say, borderline communist party if you happen to have leanings that way anyway. But it's about vetting though too, vetting and national security. While and I'm going to say this, the Democrats are also too weak and afraid to vet minorities that they're willing to just bring them in to show they meet quota numbers with a little bit, let's say, half-assed vetting system. This is why you
Well,
get spies infiltrating. And by the way,
they
the
do.
CCP knows this way ahead of
Of course.
time.
Well, speaking of that, I just asked the folks in the chat, do you think that Tim Walz is a CCP asset? So I think it's worth I think it's worth a discussion. So Tim Walz, during the time, I want to get back to this. I want to talk to Angie and Jerry about this too. But Tim Walz was someone who I think at minimum admired the Chinese system. I think he admires the order. I mean, Chris, who goes to Tiananmen Square to celebrate their wedding anniversary at a place where 10,000 people met their death? I mean, who does that? I mean, it's like,
Filthy
seriously?
commies, basically. It's
Filthy
just
commies. I think that's a pretty good description.
it's redundant,
So do
but
you so the folks, so I'm asking you all, do you think Tim Walz, Tampon Tim or Tinkerbell Tim? I like calling him Tinkerbell Tim because he's pretty light on his toes, don't you think? Yeah.
well, sort of, yes.
Well, I think he goes around like he's, a bit gay. I guess can I use that word? I guess I can use that word.
I believe that the term is very happy now. I think
He's a
that's
very
the politically
happy.
correct term.
Well, I think can I say this? I think he's the gayest governor out there right now. Maybe it's true. I don't know.
Yeah, well, let me see. This was Whitmer, but I guess,
She's not gay.
yeah,
She's not gay.
yeah,
So anyway, but I think our point, the point that Chris and I are trying to make, is that there's been a consistent compromise of one party over and over and over. Dianne Feinstein had a
keeps happening.
driver that she didn't know was a Chinese asset for 20 years. Oh, I had no idea. I thought he was just taking really good notes for me. I had no idea he was doing notes for the Chinese. Who'd have thought? And I still don't know how Swalwell has survived. What I have heard is clear and direct evidence that he had a sexual relationship. I'll just put it right out there with Fang Fang. He did the
Well,
bang bang with the Fang Fang, is what I'm
well,
understanding. So,
well.
you know,
Again, here's the thing. He's a Democrat. Democrats get away with everything when it happens that way. Always. It never fails. They
yeah,
never hold their own accountable. Once in a while, they'll do it as a token, but they never hold the useful ones, if you will, accountable.
yeah. Well, but the last thing I do want to focus on is what do we do about what do we do? What should we do to vet walls? So now we have clear evidence, direct evidence, and I do, while I do state my skepticism of the FBI often, apparently uh, Hochul's own staff turned this person in back in March of this year. That is this Chinese spy. And so I think most of it sounds like the state of New York cooperated with the FBI. So this all sounds pretty legit. Sounds like they followed the money. And man, Chris, wouldn't you like to have a $4.1 million mansion? I know I would, but I don't think working for a foreign government's the way to do it.
I don't care about the mansion. I want some of this salted duck that you see here.
That salted duck, man. What is about this salted duck? I've never heard of it, but
Well, let's
man,
put it
I,
this
I
way.
guess it's to die for.
I tried duck once and I didn't like it. I was thinking, this needs a little more salt. So now I know. There we go. Or pepper. I
All
like
right.
pepper, but that's salted duck. And
I think
believe me,
well, you can order pepper duck, I think, can't you?
I guess, yeah. Or live duck. I'm surprised they weren't eating monkey brains like they did on Indiana Jones. What was that? Which movie was that? Whichever movie it was, they're eating monkey brains and eyeball soup or something like that.
No. Only folks at CNN eat monkey brains. I don't know what it is, but
Well, I mean, that I guess they get that kind of intelligence that way. By the way, did you know Brian Stelter's back? Well, we have to talk about
well,
this later on, but that's the tangent. You mentioned
I
CNN.
saw well, I saw something. I saw Mr. Potato Head back. As a matter of fact, someone had dressed him up like Mr. Potato Head.
Mhm.
And what's he doing, Chris? Just real quick. I don't want to go down this path yet, but
No,
what
later on
is
we'll do this because we'll do this with Angie because he's again
okay?
the chief media analyst at CNN.
What?
Yep.
You mean he's been like brought back like day old garbage and put back in the house?
Yes, as a matter of fact, that's what happened. He is the chief media analyst at CNN right now. I'm not joking with you. This is what happened. I know you think I'm joking sometimes, but this is
Mm,
actually true.
big chief. Does he get to wear those like hair that like Indian headdress like a chief?
I don't think so because
Uh,
the wax on top will make the headdress fall right off, and he probably think
true.
they probably think it's insulting. CNN doesn't let you do things like that.
So
Unfortunately,
I don't know, Chris, because his jowls are getting so wide. It could almost like it could be like a pyramid, you know? Wouldn't that be great? Like the Brian Stelter, he could like set a trend. The Brian Stelter fathead pyramid. Wouldn't that be great? It's
oh,
like a
oh,
new kind of hat.
that's right. But keep in mind, this guy's going to be the chief media analyst. The man spent all sorts of time lying about the media for years. This is what CNN wants to do. Remember,
Yeah, of
CNN
course.
CNN tried that push to the middle with that new CEO for a while, but he was gone pretty fast, and they went back to their old ways.
It's because there was a revolt. Nobody in CNN really wants to do news. Like, no, we don't want to do news. That's
No.
old news.
No, and the funny thing is, do people want to see? And I hate to put it this way, do people want to see a neutral newscast? Because sometimes I could say people think it's boring unless something big's happening. You need a huge news story every week for a regular, let's say, down the middle type news organization to work. This the opinion based, clickbait based, non-equal time based format has been king. That's only, but it's proven to be more divisive. The problem with CNN is they try to mask themselves as a legit news network. That's the issue. MSNBC,
I
we know what
think
they are.
I think CNN attempted from the beginning to be kind of a an organization that minimized the editorial slant, and they still try to do that. They try to basically present it as if, oh, we just happened to walk into this news story, and we're just telling you what we see, which is
Right.
not true. It's the opposite. So, well,
Exactly.
good. I think. Angie's ready to join us. Can we? You want to bring in? Good morning, Angie.
Hey, Angie.
Hi, good
Hey.
morning, you guys. I haven't seen you in a while.
Well,
I
Happy
know.
almost fall.
we have a surprise for you.
Oh,
There's a new chief media analyst at CNN.
Yeah.
what's that?
It is
Who's that?
Brian Stelter, the
Oh,
great
yeah.
Brian Stelter, who comes back in. And this is a man who whined about Fox News anchors not posting vaccine selfies at one point.
Huh,
Where did this guy
Very
even
good
come
job.
from?
there we are.
There you go. Looks great.
Angie, I'm just look. If you look at the picture on the screen, not that some people really have no control of how hideous they are, and Brian Stelter's hideous. I mean, let's face it. And by the way, he's small. I was at no, he is. He's like he's not quite Dr. Fauci level midget or Robert Reich midget, but he's close. I
He's
mean,
small in the
if you
mental way, too.
if you took like Garden Gnome and put Fauci next to a Garden Gnome, I think Garden Gnome wins just a little bit. And then if you put Robert Reich to him, it's like he's like GI Joe. He's like even smaller. And then but Stelzer's like a little higher up. He's not quite. He's got dwarf features. Can I say that? Is that still politically correct? Dwarf features. It's like he's a big dwarf, but he's like engorged, like an engorged. Can I use that word? I guess I can use it. It's like he's been engorged with fatness. He's like engorged with fatness.
He's what happens. He's what happens if your parents fed you too much soy when you were little.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, I don't understand
like
the
a human-
measurement. What is
He's
it?
like a human pimple.
Hey-o.
Hey-o.
Yeah,
good
I'm
one.
not getting
A
involved in the
human
measurement
pimple.
of men.
You're insulting pimples, though, by the way.
I know. Well, but we are critical of his intellectual or lack thereof skills because Angie, you as a media person, you've studied this. What does this mean when it's like a dog circling back to lick up its vomit, right? I mean, that's what they're doing here.
No, you know what? He presses the right buttons. He brings back that like disgustingness and hate that CNN loves to put out because
Yeah.
they lost. CNN, they can't figure out who their audience is, right? They try to bring Trump on to like gain back the audience they lost and all the credibility they lost. That didn't really pan out because their own staff revolted against the senior leadership. So now, that went away. And now they're trying to try the old formula again, which is just nastiness, insults, and pimples. Right. So that's what's happening here. They don't know what they're doing.
It all matches. Yeah. Well, it's interesting because all right, so let's, as you know, a certain network I work for is trying to overtake them. And I just, if I were Chris Reddy, I'd say, yeah, bring back these guys because I think people are finally getting tired of it because, as Chris was saying, people know it's an agenda, not the truth. So, what do you think? Do you think people are going to see through that?
No, I don't think they're going to see
No?
through that. I think that,
Really?
the one thing I think Obama said that was right is that there's really two medias that we have right now. And we're kind of locked into whichever one. There's very few people who kind of slide between the two. I have to tape my eyelids open to watch some of this stuff like CNN and MSNBC, but I want to see what the other side is saying, right? So I can debate better. They need these media characters because guess what? We've built a whole 24/7 hour. Wait, what am I trying to say? 24/7 media around media personalities like Donald Trump. So you need someone who's going to combat that on the opposite end. It's like, oil and vinegar. And I think that's what Brian really can do. I mean, they're looking for media personalities. And that's the game show that we're all on right now. It's like,
But
who
Angie,
could be more vile?
Yeah, well, so if you're looking for vile, he's it, and he can deliver it as a straight man. Well, I don't know if he's straight or not. Sorry, Brian, if you swing both ways. Never mind, I didn't mean that.
His pronouns.
I'm just trying to. Yeah, his pronouns are what?
His pronouns are eat more.
Eat more. So I'm not saying you're straight. I'm saying you could deliver your venom pretty straight, I guess, something like that. But I'm saying that you're right, Angie. He's got a great deal of skill in delivering a message that is with delivering a message with precision that is meant to have a specific effect. Is that the way you look at it? He's very effective in delivering a message a certain way with a certain level of disdain.
Blood.
You can almost see the disdain in his face when he's talking about certain things.
Yeah, look, I mean, Democrats have two messages going into November 5th, right? Abortion and I'm not Trump. And that's all they have. And who better
Yeah.
embodies abortion and anti-Trump than Brian? I mean,
Well,
I'm just going to say it.
I'm just going to say I think some mothers would see Brian as like, man, maybe I shouldn't have had kids. Like, wow. So
I mean,
just saying.
I know Republicans have a very difficult time talking about abortion, but I got to tell you, I mean, I think we all know people that may probably have benefited from being aborted. So I'll say it online.
Yeah.
Well,
Go ahead, Chris.
it's funny. The left, you mentioned this, but Tony, to your point, and Angie, to your point, on both ways here. If you notice, it's the left that's pushing abortion. The left is pushing for men to get vasectomies. You know what I say nowadays? I say, forget it. Donald Trump was right. Let the states decide. Let the California liberals control their liberal population. Let them lessen their spawn, if you will.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, hold on. Let me
keep fighting
let
us
me
over
address
it,
that.
let them do it.
Let me address that. But real quick, let me point out I'm wearing one of the great Sea of Mud T-shirts, the Fight
nice.
T-shirt that Sea of Mud sent me. So speaking, as Angie was just saying, they're campaigning on not being Donald Trump. Well, Donald Trump is still fighting and fight. That's what we're going to do.
Oh,
But
no.
speaking of fighting, well, I want to go back to Chris's point regarding early before you joined us, Angie, there was a discussion of beta or theta or Omega Men, and not the good Omega. I love the Omega Man. I mean, man, what a great movie.
All right. We'll make
Charleston Heston, the Omega Man, not that kind of guy, not the kind of guy that runs around and shoots zombies. We're talking about the kind who is a zombie, right, Chris?
Yeah, maybe we'll call him like the Greek letter we should use. Maybe it should be a Z or a Xi man because it's spelled XI.
Do you
How
know
about that?
do you know what the generation is right after Gen Z? I just
Alpha.
learned this from my kid. Yeah, Generation Alpha. I think that's pretty cool. I
Not
think that's
happening,
pretty
though.
That's
cool.
interesting.
Although the millennials,
Oh, there she is.
the millennials could be Generation Beta.
Yeah. Well, that
Oh.
guy is I don't know what generation he is, but he's a generation I don't want to be part of. I mean, I don't understand how he's still in Congress at this point and getting away with not being held accountable.
Oh, here's how it
so-
works. Santos is out because Republicans hold their own accountable, regardless of the.
That's kind of true. Yeah.
Regardless
mistake,
of
but
the
they
thin
did.
majority they have. So they held Santos accountable. The Democrats, they kept this guy here. They kept Melendez for long enough until he finally took enough bribes where they had to let him just step down. And the guy thinks he's going to win. Thinks he's going to win another election again sometime. And you know what? Democrats get away with this stuff. They constantly vote criminals in, and because they don't get indicted or anything, they can't. No one can say, "Well, they're a convicted felon," because we can't. We don't push lawfare. We don't waste taxpayers' money on this stuff.
Right. Well, but Angie, I did want to get back to this whole idea of the type of males that are on both sides. And
Yes.
did you see? Speaking of men and gayness, and not that I think that Tim Walz being the gayest governor in the country is anything wrong with that. I think it's fine, but no, he is. I mean, he's like Tinkerbell. If Tinkerbell had a human counterpart, it would be Tim Walz.
I see Chris like going, what liabilities do I have with Tony saying that right now?
No, I got something worse for you, but I'll
Where's your
bring that up.
lawyers?
I'll bring up
no,
an email we got recently, but later on, we'll do that later on. It's really bad, Tony.
Well,
But this
one of
is
the
for
things
you.
I wanted to. You're going to bring it up now or later? Oh,
No,
here we go.
I have to bring up the email for you a little bit later, but this is your Tim
boy.
Walz.
Mm.
Yeah.
Down, boy, down. So,
Yeah.
but
man,
I
we're
did
gonna
want
go
to
there.
it's hard not to go there, so to speak, because it's a theme. I mean, this is so. The other thing, did you see that Roland Martin was doing a riff on supporting Kamala Harris, and then as he was taping, he forgot that he was watching gay porn, and he got a screen capture of a guy of a. Yes, I'm not joking about this. I joke a lot. So
Oh no.
so he the race baiter And so these guys all seem to be drawn a certain way. I'm just saying it seems to be a pattern. Either they're susceptible to and look, who doesn't love a beautiful woman, right? I don't be taking my words out of context. What I'm saying is these guys like Swalwell, guys like Roland Martin, guys like Tim Walz, there's just something that is off about it. It's just it's and the bad guys seem to understand how to exploit it. That's what I'm looking at. Is this that vulnerability? There he is.
That's Roland
So
Martin.
yeah.
He looks like
So
Al Roker if Al Roker, starved himself for 30 days
but no, my point being
and
is
ate soy.
that he and he's a former CNN guy too, by the way.
Right.
He could be the black Brian Selter. Maybe he is.
Oh yeah,
That,
I
They have
can
the
that's
see it
same
in the
possible.
face.
hairline. Yeah, have those two ever been in the same room together?
No, they haven't. This
Maybe
could
when
be like a tropic. I wonder if it's like a Tropic Thunder thing.
no, I think when Stelter needs a leg up or a special favor sometime from CNN and maybe needs to help them meet a quota, he kind of goes to the phone booth and changes and comes out as Roland Martin.
Could be.
That's my theory.
That's a good
That's a
theory,
good
Chris.
theory.
Yeah, I wonder, but don't say leg up in CNN. That's like like a dog. Like a dog puts his leg up.
Man,
It's
how
it's Brian
That was our.
Stelter's little-
By the way, a real quick note. We had a unit called Stratus Ivy. It was the first undercover cyber unit. Our motto in Latin. They didn't know what it was. We had a Latin saying about our motto, and if you translated it, it was raising our leg on a frightened world. It was a great motto. People never understood.
hydrating, guys, hydrating.
All right.
Sorry about that.
So here's
That's
the
okay.
terrible email I got, Tony. It's an emergency. I got a note from the DNC that you were wearing the fist pump photo, which, by the way, is now
I
verboten
am.
in the news media at this point. You're not
Ooh.
allowed to. So
What?
they're demanding equal time. The
Oh,
Democrats are demanding equal time, and you have to now on Monday wear a T-shirt with the iconic photo of Kamala Harris speaking and the doctored portion with her granddaughter watching it.
I think Tony should totally do that.
That's right. So now you have to wear that iconic photo. Did you hear that, Angie? Tony and I talked about this yesterday with Karen. The CNN tried to create its own fist pump photo for Kamala Harris during that interview last week. At the very end,
man.
that iconic photo that was taken. Oh, that
You have it?
with your
You have it?
granddaughter
You gonna
looking
put
at
it
you.
up?
I will pull that up again. It was a
Are they-
phony
it-
photo.
Is Harris just trolling Trump and just everything Trump says,
I
she
think
says
she's
it again?
trying. That's all she's got. That's
Hey,
all
did-
she's got.
That's not new. Joe Biden did the same thing. Did you know every successful policy Joe Biden put forth was a Trump policy, and includes the insulin, the infrastructure bill.
Interesting.
Donald Trump tried to pass an infrastructure bill. The left stopped it. Nancy
Yeah.
Pelosi and the Democrats stopped it, and they put their own poison pills in it when Biden
Right.
was president.
Well, people want to see it in the chat. Chris, you gonna put it up or not?
I'm going to put up. But I have to go find it. It just gives me a couple of seconds.
I
I'm
thought
just
you had it up.
yapping. Yeah,
He doesn't
right.
have
You
magic
guys,
fingers.
you
Well,
guys
speaking
talk
of
amongst
yapping,
yourselves.
Okay, so Angie, did you hold on a second? I want to play something for you. Did you here?
You better thank a union member for sick leave. You better thank a union member for paid leave. You better thank a union member for vacation time.
You better.
Woo, is that
better,
like
right?
Aunt Jemima? Who's
She's
talking
not.
there?
That's her Southern accent.
Thank a union member for sick leave. You better thank a union
You
member
better.
for paid leave. You better
Ooh.
thank a union member for vacation time.
Ooh. Ooh.
Well, that's what I want to ask you. What the hell is that? What the hell was that?
We should ask people in the audience if
I
that
say, boy.
works.
Yeah.
I don't know.
What
if that
is
works.
that?
I said, boy, you should thank a union member for your leadership. I said, boy, you should thank him for vacation time. It's a joke, son. You missed it. That there's a chicken.
Well, AOC does the same thing. They all kind of like bring on some black pastor voice whenever they're talking to crowds now. It is wild because they think that's relatable. Someone told them that's
better.
relatable.
You
Well,
better.
The worst is Hakeem
better, you bet.
Jeffries. The worst is Hakeem Jeffries. The man thinks he's going to be president someday. So now that he's speaker, he actually talks with the same inflections
Yep.
and vocal stylings of one Barack Obama.
Yep.
The man listens to him closely.
I thought he was.
talks like him.
I thought he was talking like Muhammad Ali. I pity the fool. I pity the fool.
Well,
Oh.
there's always Cory Booker who talks like the great Cornholio. I am Cornholio. I need tippy for my bunghole. All
I
right.
love
This
those
stuff is
guys.
polled, you guys. These guys, I mean, like they're polled. Their consultants tell them to speak like this. Kamala Harris is not doing anything that her own consultants aren't telling her to do.
I
So
have
this
the
is
picture.
working.
You're
apparently.
telling me that they paid a consultant to tell her to look
Yes.
that idiotic?
Yes.
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 But
Wow.
hey, and it didn't work for Hillary, so damn well it's going to work for Harris. Here's something for you. Here is.
All
I
right.
want to play. I want to show the picture, but I want to play
All right.
Angie and for our Patriots again what we played yesterday. How Dana Bash tried to create an iconic photo for Kamala Harris.
All right.
And last question, Madam Vice President, the photograph
The photograph.
that has gone
Oh, the
viral.
photo. Oh,
You were speaking,
photograph.
one of your grandnieces that you were
Oh.
just talking
Yes.
about
Oh,
was watching you accept the nomination.
yes.
You didn't explicitly talk about gender or race. In
There it
your
is. It's right there on the right side. That's the. That doesn't even look like a real photo, but it's the
No,
photo.
it looks like a photo you see at the beginning of a horror movie before somebody gets slashed.
Or before somebody comes out of a ring, right?
That's
Yes,
right.
That's
It's
it.
like, yeah, I'm serious. It's like that. Ooh, that eerie music. Something's about to happen.
Yep.
And
That's it.
and well, I'm not saying Kamala Harris is a monster. Don't take my words out of context. I did not say that. But
she
it's
brings
notable.
joy.
She brings joy. Well, the kind of joy that you can only get when you see millions of people having a hard time paying bills. That's the kind of joy she brings, right? I mean,
Well,
that is joy. That's true joy.
actually, the only kind of joy I think this woman brings to anywhere is this one.
Ooh, that is joy.
Man.
That's
Boy, and that's a
full
better
joy.
picture of joy. That's back before the ugly stick got used on her. I mean, really used. I mean, this is like the early days. So
Yeah, that's a very old photo.
She was
Yeah.
funny back in the 70s, wasn't she?
well,
Was
a lot
she?
of people were funny back then. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Well, humor
Well-
was different then. You could have said
Well,
a lot
well,
of things.
Go back to
then.
go back to Kamala for a second. So that whole interview, what was notable is that Kamala was so convincing when she lied to people. One of the things that's notable, again, I'm referencing something I watched on YouTube, Body Language Ghost. I check this out because I do go to them and I look at. So one of the things Kamala does is she puts her hands up in a protected way, and then she's very sincere when she lies. So she looks very sincere, and she kind of bounces when she lies. So this is the other thing to look for. Whenever Kamala's lying, she kind of bounces. It's kind of like
Wow.
it's kind of like Satan gooses her or something. Like goose, it's like Satan's hand hits her on the butt or something. But something happens. But I think
I'll
that
watch for
the
that.
people, you need to watch for it. But my summary of the Kamala thing before we bring in Jerry, she's lying. She's lying to you. Don't believe anything she says, right, Angie?
Well, I'm worried because this Friday begins the mail-in ballots that come in for the presidential election. And is it also this Friday? Or at least I think it's September 8th. Early voting begins in some states, you guys. This is it. We're at the Olympics now. And she's going to keep lying to us because it's working for her. That's all she can do. She could do AI images and that weird, I don't know what that is. Is that a smile, a smirk? It's almost if she knows she's lying to you and she's smirking and smiling at you because she's lying
Yes.
to you.
She's a
Egg-
pop
You're
star.
buying
She's,
it. You're going to eat
she's
all
a,
that.
she's a pop star, not a politician.
All right.
Pretty soon she's
Well, I
going to
gotta-
be singing with auto-tune.
So, but I got a personal question for you, Angie. You just won office, right? You won your race, right?
Yes.
Thank you.
yes.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
you.
Congratulations.
Thank you guys.
Congratulations. So, are we gonna fly us down for the coronation? Are we gonna have like a parade?
Yeah, I think we are
That'd be
having
great.
a parade, aren't we? Having a parade, Tony. Isn't there a parade on our radar, like maybe in November?
Oh, yes.
Right
there
after
is.
the
I've
election?
got my signs out. See, I've got. My
I
signs
love
out.
it. I want one of
That'd be
those
great.
signs. Can I put it up in Miami?
Oh,
Yeah,
I
I'll
love
send it
love
to you.
it.
Send me an address. Send me
I
an
I'm
need
address.
just
one of
gonna
those.
come up and get it.
I ordered some more today. So
I
yeah.
need one too. That would be
I want
terrific.
one.
Yeah,
I'll,
I'd like that.
well, I'll give me the, anyway,
I will.
I'm almost out. I ordered 30 and I'm almost out already. I haven't put out
Oh.
a single one yet. Everybody
Great.
wants them. Well, I want one of those. Like,
Well, the
I haven't
Democrats are
picked
going
one
to
out
tear them
yet.
down anyway. So
That's what they did
No,
to
no,
me.
no.
yes.
That's against the law after the 17th.
But
Oh,
The
Democrats
rule is,
aren't. They're still not. They're never held accountable.
no.
Yeah, it
well,
just
I'm
happens
saying
that way.
here in the state, you can actually tear people's signs down if they're on common ground until the
Right.
17th. After the 17th, it's against the law because technically you're not supposed to be putting signs down. You can put them on your lawn, stuff like that, but you can't put them like in
Public spaces.
public spaces.
Yeah.
So
All my
anyway,
signs
we'll
got
see.
torn down right before the election. It was
See?
great.
Yeah.
I mean, I would love to collect all the signs and what they scribbled on it. It's amazing. I can't even
Yeah.
share it on air because you'll get kicked off. But it's
Well,
certainly
this is Rumble, so they're pretty liberal here. So
Right. Right.
I get away with a lot.
Yeah,
just
I
saying.
noticed.
It's always a rumble here. That's why. That's why.
Yeah, it's always a Rumble.
We're definitely. Let's
So
get ready to rumble.
So
Yes.
speaking of Rumble, is Jerry ready to come in and join us?
Why? He's
Oh, there he
here
is.
right
Good
now.
morning, Dr. Corsi.
Hey, Tony, how are you?
Good, good. So, Dr. Jerry Corsi is joining us. I just got your book from Amazon 2 days ago, The Anti-Globalist Manifesto, Ending the War on Humanity. I have not read it yet because I've had stomach flu, and I've just been kind of working my way through that, just saying. But next to stomach flu, this is the best thing. No, I didn't come out right. Well, it doesn't come out right. That's what happens.
I got the meeting. I think you're going to enjoy it.
Yes, you get the meeting. So check out his
It's going to
book.
definitely be better than Kamala, that's for sure.
That's right. Well, it will. It will
It's
be
gonna
better than Kalama.
It's the antidote
Kalama.
to Kamala. It's the
Kalama.
antidote. It's the antidote to Kamala. It's a way to get rid of Kamala.
It's the antidote. Anyway, so
It's the
this
antidote.
just a quick
There
note.
we
This
go.
is available
Maybe
on
Brian Stelter will
Amazon.
review it for you.
Yeah.
It's on.
Brian.
It's a war room book. It's Bannon wrote the introduction, and we're just getting it going. We're going to create the Anti-Globalist Alliance. We have to beat back this agenda. This is a dehumanizing agenda. They want to kill people. I mean, this whole gender, making children so children can't procreate. Every idea she's got in her head is a Marxist idea or a Maoist idea. She's really a Maoist, is who she is. And, she wants to completely destroy all traditional values, doesn't mind killing billions of people, and believes in the most bizarre ideas. Let the criminals run the world, eliminate the police, have chaos in the streets, destroy the middle class. I mean, who wouldn't want to vote for this woman? What a great agenda.
Well,
who wouldn't want to live under her?
Well, so that's part of the deal is because we were talking earlier about Governor Hochul's staff turning in the Chinese spy, which has been widely reported. She was the Chinese spy along with her salted duck. Angie, is that a thing? I've never heard of salted duck.
And her husband, by the way.
Duck?
Okay. I was a food editor for a long time.
Yeah.
Salted duck is not a thing.
I didn't think so.
It's not a luxury item. It's not a
Weird.
thing. But
In New York.
Maybe that was her code name, the Chinese code name.
ooh, that's
Agent
a good,
Salted Duck.
In Albany, it might be a luxury item, though. I mean, have you been to Albany?
Albany? No,
No.
this is not Albany. We're not talking Albany, but okay. Tony, I got to ask you. I mean, you study up on spies. You identify
I do.
them.
I
Apparently,
I am one.
You are one. So let me
right.
ask you, does she check all the boxes here?
Yes.
I don't.
Oh,
She does.
so
What are the
So,
tell signs?
So, well, it depends. So she was actually what we would call a principal asset, a principal agent. Fang Fang was a principal agent. These are the folks who basically go out and they have a network that works for them. And and by the way, this is one of the things too that I think needs to be looked at. So much of what this asset, the one that Chris has up on the screen right now, was doing actually was done during the Cuomo administration.
The husband
She
was
was
part
there-
of this too, by the way.
Well, the husband too. Husband is arrested too. But my point being, as I'm saying, she's a principal agent. The husband's probably working for her, and so basically, her job is to create a network of both information and influence. Those are the two types of operations. You have an influence operation or an informational operation. Informational operations are just designed to take information in. Don't do anything provocative. Influence operations are much riskier because that person is doing things like giving access to the Chi-coms, giving access to the internal Zoom calls on COVID response of the state of New York, which she did. And I think all these things started to add up. It's like, hey, she's playing for the other team. And I think even Hochul's staff finally figured out in March, like, yeah, this $4.1 million mansion, that didn't come from money she made from the state. And those things start adding up after a certain point. And you know, for people like her, she was pretty much probably from day one a Chinese asset. That she was never not an asset, and that's something that people need to look at. Now,
Yeah.
Waltz is another type. Waltz is a recruit. Basically, people like me spot, develop, assess, and then recruit individuals like Waltz. Am I saying we do that here? Well, maybe. I'm not confirming or denying that we look at foreign nationals in you know their country. Just saying. But if I were a Chinese spy master and I had a dupe, someone who's of diminished intelligence and accessibility, like Walls, sure, I'd recruit him. You don't have to like your assets; they just have to be effective. And Walls, no, I mean it's very clear that these people fit a certain profile regarding vulnerability. The other thing we always do, we always look for a vulnerability. Anything from, gee, can I help pay for your kids to go through college, to, gee, I really would like to give you a dozen prostitutes for Friday night if you'd like them. And I'm really not joking about
Is
that.
that what
I
you
mean,
would trade, Tony? Have you made that trade?
I have traded things like that. Yes.
Wow.
Just saying.
Okay. I
Let
gotta
me
think about what
look,
my vulnerability would be.
Look, I have told people before I ran for office, I've done everything spies do. Just saying, and good or bad. And it's about trying to achieve certain objectives for your nation, and so it is what it is. So I'm sorry, Jerry. Go ahead.
Well, I just want to break in. I mean, I want to get into this a breaking story here in Oklahoma. I've been following all of these algorithms in the state board of election databases that we found in New York.
Oh yeah,
we're finding now in Ohio.
Yeah.
They've actually put algorithms, like talking about spies. I think the intelligence agencies are running the elections because these algorithms permit you to take false votes, create voters that don't exist, and vote them in various ways, but particularly mail-in ballots. But because you can give them in these schemes, you can give them a certified number that's a legitimate state ID. Their vote counts, even though they don't exist. And
Right.
so there's a mayoral election here in Tulsa where the guy who's running for mayor gets beaten by essentially, a Maoist who wants to do all kinds of horrible things with the kids and basically make this the Tulsa 15-minute city. And yet at the end of the election, she surges because they bring in counties that aren't part of the city and they include their votes. And then I look at the state board of election database, and it's got algorithms in it too. So the entire state is wired for fraud.
Wow.
And I'm down here to say to the judge, until you get this cleaned up, you can't certify this election because it's unconscionable. And if you're going to do this, why hold the election at all? Why not just let the intelligence agencies tell you who your mayor is going to be?
Well, that's a great segue, Jerry, to bring, because part of, I'm just going to say it as directly as I can say and not get in trouble. Much of what we're seeing being used in the situation you're observing, situations that we've been victimized by, is technology that was developed by the intelligence community.
That's right.
For use against foreign nations. Now, I was part of the development of a lot of that stuff. There's tools, techniques, and technologies which some of which are still to this day highly classified. As a matter of fact, as I've talked to both Angie and you about, and I mentioned this to Chris, there's elements of Able Danger, the operation that we were trying to run against Al Qaeda back in the late 90s. There's elements of that operation which are still beyond top secret, and I still can't get into them because they were very effective techniques that were being developed, and frankly, things that I don't want to admit that we can do. With that said, I'm a Reagan guy, and a lot of us who came up with certain ethics believes that, yeah, we developed these things for purposes of use against a
Well,
foreign asset, never against the American people.
well,
And I've been lectured at least 3 different times by members of Congress saying, well, how did you not understand this could be turned against the American people? Well, that wasn't my job to decide. My job was to do what I was told to do regarding foreign threat. And Jerry, that's something maybe you want to address, because this is something that has happened. This technology has been turned against the American people. Did Jerry freeze
Jerry,
up?
I think Jerry may have frozen up a little bit. For more information on this, you can find
well,
it at
that's in the United States. So if you go to
It's freezing up a little bit, but a lot of this information is on gods5stones.com. You can find New York voter rolls analysis here, Andrew Paquette's paper, the slideshow. If you want a little basic summary of everything that's going on. And of course, when we get Dr. Corsi back, he'll explain a lot more. A lot of his interviews are here too.
I think I'm back on now.
Yep.
You
Yeah.
can what you also take a look. There's also that on that website that the Ohio Secretary of State has opened a formal investigation into our allegations that there are algorithms in the Ohio Board of Election database for the voter database that's going to be used in the 2024 election. And we're finding the algorithms. We're going to report on it very quickly. Andrew Paquette's just about done his analysis. I'm here in Oklahoma because the same situation's here. We're finding algorithms in every state we're looking at, which means the intelligence agencies have penetrated the state voter rolls, and they've rigged them so that they can be used to elect whatever candidate the intelligence agencies decide they want. I mean, this is completely outside the bounds. This, as Tony, as you're saying, tools we developed to steal elections in foreign countries are now being used here to steal elections in the United States.
Well, I'm not saying I developed these to steal elections. I'm saying we developed certain things for purposes of getting inside of, at least for DOD.
Right.
Our job was to get inside of the command and control.
Well, we have also developed tools
system.
to steal. We have also developed tools to steal elections in other countries, and now they're being applied here.
Yeah, I was not involved in that, but I'm
That may
I'm
not
not
have
saying
been
we
your-
didn't do it.
Right. That may not have been your task, but I'm saying
That was not my task.
the key issue here is that if we don't have voter integrity, if you let the intelligence agencies run the elections, they don't care about voters. They can throw the voters away because they'll be able to pick their winner because they have enough fake votes that they can use these fake votes and they can pick whomever they want and make it look like it's real because they're voting voters that are fake that have real state legitimate IDs as voters. That's the trick of this scheme. And it's very nefarious, and that we've cracked the scheme, even at this late hour, means I think we're going to be able to show that virtually every state database for voters in the country has been corrupted. And that's a very frightening thought. But if it's the case, we can't let the election go forward.
Well, Jerry, this is something I have to be careful about. That part I know how they probably did based on how we do. So there's two parts to this. What you've identified, the action part. You've identified the fact that it happened. The question becomes, how did it happen, and how do we go back and walk that back? And that's where it's going to be a bit sensitive because the intelligence agencies and how they did this is going to be another story unto itself. Just saying.
It is, and it's going to take some time to get this resolved. But the fact is, mail-in ballots are going to be the main course of the fraud right now. And with the number of false voters that have been stacked in these official Board of Election voter registrations, there's no assurance that the Democrats won't try to steal the 2024 election, regardless of how unpopular Kamala is. They'll gaslight her like they're doing and saying, "Oh, she's really doing well." And if they can steal mayoral elections in Tulsa, which is, all these down ballot elections. And it looks like these algorithms may have been in the databases going back to 2007. It raises questions about how many elections have been stolen down ballot. How many Democrats are in office because of these algorithms that we don't know about. And it's a very profound question.
So I want to ask it.
Yeah.
Jerry, I want to address it with both you and Angie real quick. So how does one go from being the least popular vice president in history to being the darling of the left in less than a month? I mean, that's what they're doing here. They're trying to create a perception. And first to you, Angie.
Yeah.
Oh no,
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 I
no.
mean,
How does that happen? I
well,
mean,
campaign wise, it's quite easy. I mean, they're oversampling Democrats in the polls that they
Oh, yeah.
buy. You and I can buy polls all day long if we have the capital. It's about 50 grand for a national poll, right? I could do that all day long. In fact, Dick Morris is the one who taught me how to do that. And
oh,
that's what's happening now. So you're building the momentum. Remember, she only had 90 days to run for office. Within 90 days, we learned this from Ron DeSantis. You can build a fake momentum in 90 days.
Right.
After that, it cliffs down because the public's going, well, she's not talking to the press. She doesn't feel authentic to me. You start questioning things. Right now, she's in her honeymoon Hollywood phase where everything is perfect about her hair. Her hair is perfect. Her makeup is perfect. Even that weird smile works for Democrats because it's polled. After 90 days, though, people start realizing what is going on. She only needs to fake it until she makes it for another couple of weeks. And I think that's what's happening here. The rest of it, it's Donald Trump against the machine. It's man against the machine.
oh yeah.
Hers
I get
is
that.
a full Democratic machine. It is well oiled. And that's where I'm really nervous because Republicans, as we know, we're still building our machine. That's one of my jobs being elected as executive committee woman for my district. I'm
Right.
here to build that machine because I know now how the Democrats play, but we don't have it yet. And I wonder if we have enough time to do all of that in about 60 days. That's all we've got, really.
Well, here's a funny question for all of you. The machine we keep talking about, we distrust the Democrat machine, we distrust the political machine. I'm gonna contend that Donald Trump attracted a group of people who wouldn't normally be out voting, the grassroots, if you will, people who disrespect the machine from both the Republican and Democrat Party. So if the Republican machine is too slick, would that hurt future elections?
Well, it's not like we're not talking AI voting here. I mean, I'm sure we can at some point. I'm just talking about building the infrastructure so that we can play a similar game, right? We don't have that right now. When Tony just brought out his yard sign, when I was going out putting out my yard sign, Democrats already had deals in place with landlords, right, in very prominent areas. So that they could populate all their yard signs everywhere. I was just popping mine up next to theirs, which is why mine kept getting cut down. But they already had deals cut, right? We don't
Interesting.
have that infrastructure. We
No, we
have to
don't.
go and drive around town looking for the right spots. That's what I mean. Also, there's a lot of stuff going on. Like, for example, I'm going to jump all over the place here. Vermont, of all places. After 2030, they may gain another congressional seat. Democrats are pushing for it. They know that's in a few years' time. They're going to overpopulate Vermont just to get that extra seat. We're not doing these things. We need to have a bigger vision here rather than just one election. I think that's what I mean by machine, is to have a longer play here.
So you're saying they're going to essentially create a condition that destroys the Vermont syrup industry, like there'll be
Oh,
like locusts and all that. Well, oh, but back to Jerry. So Jerry, do you agree with Angie, and do you think that we're going to have time to wake up and make sure that 90-day cycle doesn't harm Trump's chances to win? Did Jerry hear me?
I think he's frozen again.
Oh,
Well, we'll
he's
work that out.
smiling.
All right, here's something for you.
I think yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
Oh, good.
Can you hear me? My
We're
connection's
good.
kind of weak.
Yeah,
What we're doing,
well,
questioning
you're
all
in
these mail-in ballots and showing that the voter rolls are tainted with algorithms is going to raise the awareness, going to make it more difficult for the Democrats to steal. I think at this point we've got to make it like target hardening. We've got to make it harder for the Democrats to steal the election because people are aware of it. We can't prevent it entirely at this point, but we also can raise the alarm that after this election, our system of voting is fundamentally flawed and needs to be fundamentally revised. Because if every state has code in its official voter database that permits for false votes to be certified, we've got a problem, and that problem's got to be addressed. As to Kamala in 90 days, I think she's going to be a 90-day wonder, but I don't think in reality that the Democrats, I think, are really reaching. The only way they can win is by stealing this election. They can't win it legitimately. Kamala, this other guy, Wall, these are the worst two candidates I've seen, since George Wallace picked Curtis LeMay to be his vice president.
Well, I mean,
it's pretty bad.
look, Curtis LeMay was pretty good at blowing up Japan. Just saying, he did have his purpose. So, my friends in Japan, I love you all. Don't be taking my comments out of context, man.
Right.
I'm going to get us in so much trouble today. But
You are.
Let's just,
Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that.
let's hear from.
For sick leave, you better thank a union member for paid leave. You better thank a
You
union
better.
member for vacation.
You better.
time.
That's right.
For sick leave, you better thank a union member for paid leave.
You better. You better. You bet.
Kamala is
She's-
not only brat, she's street.
That's not street.
They like
That's
to-
not street. What is that? That's
Oh.
like plantation. That's not street.
It all depends, I guess. She's plantation street at this point. When she talked with, remember the commercial
Well-
with the Taraji P. Henson? Yeah, girl, they not like us.
But,
These
but, but,
Republicans-
but no, hold on. Did you know that Joe Biden used a racist term to describe her the other day?
No.
Ramrod. Ramrod is the origins of Ramrod was the massa who used to keep the slaves, running. So when Joe Biden and Harris's family has a history of having slaves, so it's just kind of like okay. So Joe Biden said that. Joe Biden said she's got a ramrod back. He did. I'm not making this up. I mean,
must have
I
just
make a lot
fallen
of
off
stuff up.
He must have
I'm
just
saying
fallen off a
exactly
coconut
what he
tree.
said. And so he said that she's got a ramrod back, which is slave related, but she's got, how does she say it? That she's like an angel. Well, like an
Yes.
angel of darkness, perhaps, but not like.
I say watch Oklahoma. If we find this Oklahoma situation developing over this week, such that an election for mayor can't be certified, it's already been held up for certification. We've got the possibility, I think, here of putting a lot more pressure on the Democrats this time around. In other words, it's not going to be as easy to get away with it. We've seen all these moves before. They're running an old playbook. We've seen this playbook. And so when they run this playbook, now what we got to do is make sure we get in the courts. We do all kinds of things to block it. But it's going to be a fight because they will try to steal the election.
Yeah.
Oh, no doubt. So
I'm worried. I'm very worried because we still have Trump sentencing in New York to go over. I mean, that's still a big one that's coming up next week. Yesterday, the federal courts denied his motion, right, to move it to federal again.
Right. Yes.
So
again.
we know that's going to happen. That may be the October surprise, but I think there's another October surprise waiting for us. I don't have any intelligence on that. It's just a feeling. Trump has to overwhelmingly win. I mean, overwhelmingly win all the cheat.
Like
And
2016.
Yeah,
again,
just like that.
he really is man against the machine, and we're all praying for him.
Well, we're all part of the anti-machine. So that's
right.
All
Machine,
right. So
has failed. I mean, everything they've tried against Trump has backfired. And so that's where I think the American people are ultimately onto this game. I think the American people are sick and tired of this. They've had enough of the woke. They've had enough of the being told they're being depopulated, eating bugs. They've had enough of the Democrats causing inflation. This is the worst. The Democrats are running such a bad campaign and have such a bad agenda that they have to steal. And now it's obvious.
Oh yeah.
We've got to make it even more obvious. That's why I'm in Oklahoma. It's why I'm traveling from Ohio to Oklahoma and all these states to emphasize that the voter rolls in every state I'm looking at are corrupt.
Right.
And they're desperately corrupt.
So we're going to
That's
continue
the
to have
problem.
you come on and
surreptitiously.
right, Jared. We'll continue to have you come on and do updates. In the meantime, don't walk, run to Amazon. Well, just get on your keyboard and go to Amazon and order Anti-Globalist Manifesto, the ending the war on humanity. You will not be unhappy. And then Angie, we've been texting. Fran and Diane Ventura want to come back on and talk about the Veterans Parade. So I'd like to have us all back sometime soon.
Yeah, we're going to
Talk
do
about that.
Yeah, okay, you got it.
We're
Yeah,
definitely doing that.
we'll definitely do that. And in the meantime, look, it's been another great hour. We got to go here in a minute, but thank you all for being here. Be aware, you guys are a Patriot family. What you see here doesn't stay here. You need to get it out.
Yeah,
Tell
spread
people
the
to come
word.
check out what we're talking about. Angie Wong, Angie's won her office. She'll be organizing the Republicans down in the great state of great area of Southern Florida. Palm
Miami,
Beach, right?
baby.
Miami.
Yeah.
You know, I used to work in Miami back in the old days. I don't know if I told you
Really?
that story. Oh yeah. No,
Miami Vice. Were you the original Don Johnson?
No. Real quick. I was a very young Air Force military case officer, and we were running operations against the Cubans and Nicaraguans. And it was during the Miami Vice time. It was during that
Wow.
era. And we were at Monty Trainers. You know where Monty Trainers is at, right?
No.
No.
I don't know
Monty
what that
Trainers
is.
Key Biscayne. Key
Okay,
Biscayne
I
used
know
to have
Key
this-
Biscayne, of
So
course.
Key Biscayne, there he is.
Woo!
Yes. So there's a picture of me somewhere I can drag up.
Did you wear
Yeah,
socks? Did you wear socks with your shoes?
No. I got in trouble going through spy school at the farm, and Jim Dunn during one of my exercises, I was dressed just like that, and he said he passed me. He says, Tony, you have to understand that yes, you did everything just fine, but nobody does a recruitment of someone without wearing socks. So, well, I did. My first actual recruitment of real world was done without socks. Just saying, Jim. And I did call him. Anyway, I'm digressing. My point being is that after an operation at Key Biscayne, we were chilling out at Key Biscayne at Monty Trainers. You can Google it. Monty Trainers used to be a big night spot. And I was sitting there and I was wearing, let me get the sweatshirt. I got it right here.
Oh boy, we're gonna see a
Another
walk down
shirt.
memory lane.
He has all the cool shirts.
No. So I was actually undercover in another operation where I was
love
in
that you can
Texas.
just talk about this.
No, I can now because it's all done. So I was undercover as a Stunts Unlimited stunt guy. See my sweatshirt? I was actually wearing this sweatshirt because it's still a great sweatshirt, by the way. Here it is 30 years later. I got this in 1988, believe it or not. Isn't that great?
Woo.
Wow.
Anyway, so I was undercover as a Stunts Unlimited stunt guy on an operation in Texas where they were filming Big Bad John. Horrible movie, but anyway. So I was wearing this at Key Biscayne at Monty Trainers, and I get a tap on the shoulder. And she says, "Excuse me, are you a stunt man?" No,
That's a
but
nice pickup.
and so she said, "Well, we're doing a project. Would you have any glossies?" No, I don't have any glossies. So anyway, so I go and get. She says, "Well, would you come down and get a couple of pictures for us?" And we were at the end of the operation. We were flying back to Washington the next day. It's like, yeah, maybe. Well, she says, "Let me give you my card." Anyway, so she goes over, Angie, gives me her card. It's Miami Vice casting.
Wow.
I swear to God, it's a true story.
All right.
So it's like, so I'm curious now. It's like, okay, I'll check this out. So anyway, we're case officers. We take our time.
That's it.
So that's
oh
it.
my
Yeah,
goodness.
that's the place.
That's it.
That is the
Monty
place
Trainers.
right
Yep,
there.
that's it.
Okay.
That's Monty
Tony's,
Trainers.
Tony's hangout.
I was sitting there. I was sitting in one of those chairs, and this is where all this is happening. Anyway, she hands me the card, and sure enough, I go down the next day. They were looking for a replacement for Don Johnson's stunt driver. And
Nice.
so that's what they wanted me to do. So believe it or not. There you
Okay,
go,
that's
Monty
not
Trainers.
Key Biscayne. I know this place. It is because my kids' school's right there. That is maybe they moved locations. That's probably what it is. Yeah, it's called
It was
Monty's.
on the beach.
It's
Yes.
called the
Monty's.
Monty. Yeah.
Well,
I'm
it
gonna
used to be
invite
Monty
you.
Trainers.
I'm going to invite you guys there. Can I please invite you to Miami? Can we do a show in
Oh, yeah.
Miami?
Let's
please?
do a show in Miami.
At Monty's. I will
All right.
arrange
I've
it.
still got Miami
Done.
Vice clothes that fit from the 80s. So it's great.
Ooh, I want to see that.
Well, good.
Excellent.
Well, we got to go. We've been geezing. We've been as a geezing or reflecting on the
Geek-zing.
80s today.
Geek zing. How
Yeah,
about that? A little bit
gazing.
of both, right?
Gazing. Anyway, well, thanks for all being here. Jerry, Dr. Corsi, we'll see you again soon. Angie, we'll see you again soon. We'll talk
Thank you,
about
guys.
doing something on the parade. Thank you. Chris, before we go, I got to
Thank
do a
you.
read. I got to do the read
That's right.
Thanks,
for
guys.
our friends. Yeah, well, I got to do a read real quick.
All right. Thank you,
for-
Jerry.
Yeah, thanks, Jerry. We'll see you soon. I got to do
Thank
a
you.
read for Paul Stone and the team at Colonial Metals Group. So, real quick, don't forget that we had our friend Paul Stone on yesterday of Colonial Metals. We talked in detail. If you missed the show, go see it. It's on the website. Jerry, well, Dr. Corsi talks about things that we have to do structurally to protect our elections. Paul talks about things you must do to structurally protect your account. And here's what you need to do. Go check them out. colonialmetalsgroup.com/ed-henry/ and you will see everything there that they have regarding a portfolio, gold and silver, solid things that you can have to take care of you. There he is, the slave master himself, Ed. But go check out the website and ask them about what they can do to help you solidify your portfolio. You need to have gold and metal no matter what happens in the economy. Gold and metal, gold and silver. What am I saying? Gold is a metal. Gold and silver are things which have been at the foundation of the economic activities of civilization since the beginning, and they're not going to go away anytime soon. So you need to reach out. Go talk to the team. Go talk to Paul Stone and his guys. 800-805-4034 if you choose to do it the old-fashioned way on the phone. 800-805-4034, or go check them out. colonialmetalsgroup.com/ed-henry. That's it. Man, Chris, what a great and fast show. I can't believe we're overtime today. We barely made it yesterday because we started late, but man, it's like we could have done another hour, couldn't we?
Yes, we could have done another hour on the weakness of the left as far as having enemies infiltrate them, because we could have gone back to the 1930s and 20s on this one. So
Yeah.
with the Soviet Union and sneaking into the Democrat Party there, and of course FDR sneaking or placing Soviet assets into his administration. You had Hollywood. It's a big mess up until today. We could do a whole, I don't know, 2-3 programs on that.
Well, we probably could. We may want to do that as a theme show sometime too. Anyway, we got to go. Are we doing something later today? I guess we are. So anyway, we'll see you all tomorrow. Are we done? Today's Tuesday. No, Wednesday. We're done this week, aren't we?
It is Wednesday. Yes, it is Wednesday.
Wow.
We're
we only had
back
2
on
shows
Monday.
this week.
That's right. We're back
All
on
right,
Monday.
so-
Mystery guest.
So you got Larry Swikert. Oh, yeah. So for you guys to know, I did reach out to a certain mystery guest. She said yes, but I got to go through. She's a big person, so I got to go through her staff.
Yes.
You know,
I always say
but
that.
So we'll see when I can get her on. But Paul Stone wants us to bring her on, so we'll see. We'll see how soon we can do it. All right, so that's it, folks. Man, it's been a fast week. We'll see you on Monday. Take care. Check us out. Be sure and send out these shows to your folks, your friends. Let them know that we're here to help wake them up. So thanks, folks. We'll see you on Monday.